Hello, this is no good from Empeopled, and this is going to be a very short video of our first transition of government. This is going to be a video about how to transition from one governance contract to another. As a quick background, Empeopled has minted its first country, which has the default contract be a dictatorship, of which I am the key holder. What we're going to do in order to demonstrate that we can change the governance mechanism by changing the governance contract is we are going to allow for a change to take place in the sense of changing the internal address that's stored in the country contract for its governance mechanism. What we have done is we have minted another contract which is under the ownership of Aris from Empeopled. And what he did was he minted a contract that is simply sitting on chain right now, and we know its address. So I'm going to show exactly what we did and how we move forward. So this is our discussion channel where we posted everything about our plan. And you can see here what I've done is I indicated that we've created a contract that can be viewed on chain. So I'm going to do that very quickly. I'm opening a new tab on this browser that is going to show us on Etherscan the contract. And so you can see it here. Its address is up here. And I have performed two transactions. Well, first one was performed by Aris, that's his address right there. And then I performed a transaction just to make sure everything works. This transaction did absolutely nothing. You can see the fees were very, very small for both creating the contract and interacting with it. All right, I'm going to return back to the channel. This is the old contract. And so the Empeopled country is exactly this contract. I am going to show you what that looks like on Etherscan. And once it's loading, I am going to show you the creation date, which was about 20 days ago. And this address here is my own, when I minted the country and created it. This contract has its code posted, and now people can interact with it. You can see the contract code if you scroll below. To interact with the contract, you either read or write. So let's read first. There are several methods. There are several methods that are allowing interactions. The one thing that we are going to do is we're going to change from the existing governance contract to something else. So to do that, we will have to write to the contract indicating that we want to set a new governance contract. This would break the governance mechanism if anyone could do this. So what has to happen is the governance contract itself has to allow for this to take place. In order for this to work, what we have to do is go to that governance contract and using its method specify that the new contract has to be the one to transition to before we can engage with this specific address here. So we will read the governance contract. That's this one. We'll go here. Now we are at the governance contract that is under my control. You can see that was minted by my address back in the day. That contract also has its source code posted, and we can read and write to it. So the first thing we're going to do is write to that contract. Okay, so to initiate the change, the dictator, which is me, is going to enter the new decision-making contract. That's the new governance contract. So what we'll do is we'll take the new address, the new contract. This is Aris's, so I'll copy it into the buffer. I'll put it in here. To interact with this, I need to connect with my MetaMask. You may not be able to see the window that is on my screen now as I'm not sharing it, but it's opening my MetaMask and it's going to connect. And as soon as it's connected, now you see that it's connected and it's green. So now that we have put this governance contract in there, and this is going to be something that will change too, As soon as I write, a transaction will be hashed to interact with the contract and provide this address. So just to make sure we're doing the right thing, this is the contract we transition to, ends with ED, copy the address, and put it in here, ends with ED, and here we go. So now my MetaMask has opened up, and it has a transaction that is being prepared. As soon as I hash that in, let's see. I will confirm. So now the transaction is pending. We'll view it. As you can see here, it's pending. All right, MetaMask has notified me that this succeeded. So we have effectively written to the contract. So now I'm going back to my governance contract and I'm going to try to read from it. See if it actually allows us. It doesn't have ABI methods to read, that's okay. Okay, so now we know that this contract is what we have transitioned to. In order to make the final transition to the country's governance contract, we'll just go to the country itself, which I will go from the beginning. Here is the country contract. And we will go to the contract and we will write to it. And what we want to do is connect to Web3 with our MetaMask. That's connected. So we now have to set the governance contract. So I have in the buffer the new governance contract ends in ED. By right, I will create a transaction. And hopefully will give me a very small fee that I have to incur onto the Ethereum blockchain. And I will confirm. I'm going to view the transaction, which should be pending. Shortly, it will materialize. It's still pending. Okay, my notification from MetaMask came that there is a confirmation. So this should update shortly. There it is, a success. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the country contract and I'm going to read from it. And so now I have a new governance contract address. And here it is. And it ends with ED. This signifies that a transition has taken place of governance by virtue of changing from one contract, smart contract, to another smart contract, and therefore from one dictatorship to another dictatorship. I just hand in control of the governance to Aris. And this concludes this video.